Welcome back here on the Senior Network. We are now joined by Joe Agee, Director of Sales, the Seabrook. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
And of course, Becky Davis with the Cypress of Hilton Head.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with my friend Joe, too.
Yeah, and he actually allowed us to be here at this gorgeous Seabrook today.
So pretty. I've done it.
All right, I know we've been talking about this off the set here, but the holidays are here. It's an exciting time.
Where'd the time go?
I know.
Goes by so fast.
You just got back from Paris.
I know, and now here we are at almost Christmas. So it's...
Well, Becky, tell us a little bit about what's going on over at the Cypress this time of year.
Well, very busy, especially after, or at least in sales and marketing, and Joe, chime in anytime. After Thanksgiving, when families come together, that's a time when, questions are raised. I don't know if they're raised over the turkey or just after,
or the ham,
over the ham, or over dessert and coffee. But at one point or another, as maybe children are seeing that their folks are needing maybe a higher level of, or a more secure sort of lifestyle that offers more services than their current situation, they may say, have you started looking at a continuing care community? We are so fortunate on Hilton Head that we have some of the finest communities in the United States. I mean, come on.
We do.
We're very fortunate, especially for having such a small island. But it is a time that we get phone calls after Christmas and Thanksgiving where, we had that conversation with our children. They're saying, gee, it's time to take that next step to really start considering a continuing care community. And as a service here on the Senior Network, I would be remiss, and I think Joe would agree, I'd be remiss if I wouldn't say you really need to have a thoughtful conversation with your folks or vice versa with your children.
Sure.
Be very, sort of like we sit down and we do, we plan everything else in our lives. Why not plan our future retirement? And sit down and talk about the finances. Do we have long-term care insurance? How will that fit with a Cypress community or a Seabrook community? Talk about what the future needs look like as far as health care.
And that could be some tough conversations.
It could be very tough. Right, but
you see the same thing, Joe?
Well, the holidays kind of have a reset button in a way.
Okay.
I mean, everybody starts to go back and look at how things are going. The kids, if they don't live in this area, they've still been visiting from time to time, and they know when things are starting to require maybe a little bit more help.
Right.
And so it's always fun, or at least from a standpoint of going into a new year, to have really everything kind of set up to see if in fact this is what we should be doing and what we should be looking at.
Right.
And so it really, with the children's involvement, really has I think a major assistance in making this thing work and making it work well. And sometimes there's pushback, from your parents.
Sure.
That will always be the case, I would think, and so you have to kind of look at this both from a practical standpoint as well as an emotional standpoint.
Right.
So
great point. And I read the other day too. We were talking about planning ahead of time, and I think the AARP put a report out that like only 58% of ages 53 to 71 actually had estate plans in place. That's a very small percentage if you think about that.
Very small, yeah.
And it's all the planning process, like you said, because you don't want to get to the point where, you guys both have a continuum of care. So I mean, they actually can, have different levels of care.
Oh yeah, and we both have set requirements on admissions to.
Well, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, everyone who applies to the Cypress, and Joe, you chime in when you come. They are required to have a physical and meet certain, a level of independence. You can't move into the Cypress, for example, with Alzheimer's or dementia. I mean,
right.
You're expected to be able to live independently.
Oh, sure.
And do all the activities of daily living.
But if they get to the point where they do need that next level of care,
plan.
right? Exactly.
That's the plan. The plan is, if I do need this higher level of care, then I can transition to seamlessly. I mean, I know nothing's seamless in this life, but I know Joe, I know the Seabrook, I know the Cypress. We do a seamless job in providing that care, whether it be just transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple thing is transportation, or helping them, just cleaning the homes.
Yeah.
But in the worst case scenario, they do need a higher level of care, and that's when our wellness coordinators step in and will navigate them through.
And help through that process.
Yeah, the navigator's the most important part of that whole process.
And I think, Greg, a lot of people don't understand that there's a financial component to this, that
Sure.
you need to be able to have the resources to live in the community moving forward for X number of years.
Right, exactly.
I know in my case, before my parents went into a senior living community in Williamsburg, I had no clue what it was going to cost them.
Yeah.
And it's not inexpensive.
No.
But if you have the resources, then I think it's the best choice that anyone could make.
Oh,
So
I agree. The planning process.
it sometimes become a challenge when you have somebody who desperately wants to come here,
Yeah.
but just due to their financial picture, it's just not quite enough.
Great. Great information. Joe, thank you so much for allowing us here at the Seabrook. We need to take a break. Stay with us here on the Senior Network. We will be right back.